Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm Steve, your host. I decided to make a part 2 to the track links video. In the first video, I showed you how to assemble the individual links and do the wrap. Now, what I really wanted to show you was what happens once you take them off the vehicle, once you bring them down to the paint booth, and things just kind of happen. My single runs turned into link and length, which wasn't a problem, but it's going to happen. Don't be discouraged by it. It's just patience and work with it. So enjoy the video, and as always, please like, share, and subscribe. You guys enjoy the day. Thank you. Bye. Okay, so I've got the tracks out of the paint booth, and as you can see, instead of just having one big form track, it's kind of turned into link and length, but really not a problem. I've done the other side, and I think it's come out. I'm pretty happy with the way it's come out. I've got the sag right, got the coloring right, got the fender on, so we're moving right along here, and yeah, I'm pretty pleased so far. So what I wanted to do is just show you all the things that go on when you're fitting the tracks. And if you stay to the end, I've got an epilogue of what happened and all the things I needed to do. And but really what I want to stress is just make sure when you're putting the tracks on, you have them, the orientation of the track is correct for the vehicle that you're working on. You know, it's sometimes you get ahead of yourself, and it's easy to get these things swapped around. So you can see here, the pieces seem to be fitting well. It's not a problem, and I think it broke down into 4 big pieces and a 2-track section. So I'm just taking my time here fitting them, and yeah. So what I'll do is I'll stop talking. I'll chirp in if we get to a critical point, and just show you how I did this. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue the connection points between the front sprocket wrap and the lower wrap on the track, and we'll just make sure we've got a good connection there. And also, I guess it's separated right in the middle of the lower run, and we'll just make that connection. No problem. Again, using Tamiya thin set. I don't clean the painted surfaces. I've never had a problem gluing painted surfaces, so that's how I do it here. I've got a video on how I paint tracks. I'll post that in the credits, where you can just click on that. So we'll just get this connection, make sure that we've got the where it swings up to either the drive sprocket or the idler, just make sure that's correct, and that we don't have any road wheels floating. Just when you're working with this, you have to be careful, because with me, maybe I'm a bit clumsy, maybe I'm a bit ham-fisted. I tend to make just a little bit more work for myself in handling these things, that they separate or something happens where I end up doing more work than probably the average person would. I guess it's just my style, or or lack of style, as you may notice. So now, what would seem like I've just got this short connection on the top run. Want to make sure the sag is right, And this is the fourth piece, and there should be just a little piece I'm gonna squeeze in there. So it'll become clear what happened a little bit later on. The sag seems to be out of place. Now, one of the things you can do if you're stuck with this, you can kind of re-glue the joints on the individual track links, and you can get a little bit of flexibility back, but you just got to be careful. So just you really want to get it right the first time. I got myself into a little bit of trouble when I was filming this. I didn't realize it, but hey, in post, I thought, oh yeah, there it is. It was staring me right in the face. But this kind of stuff happens, and I want you to see it that it really happens to all of us. When you see videos on YouTube, there's some great modelers out there, but they never really show. They kind of take the bloopers out. So with this, I'm just going to let this run. I've cut it down for time, but you'll see all the problems that I had. And you can see sometimes it's just hard keeping things glued together. You know, ideally I had one big track run and I just needed to glue the end the two end pieces together. That would have been fine, but that's just not what happened here. So at this point, we've got it close. We've got an entire loop around the idler, the road wheels, the return rollers, and the drive sprocket. So now what I want to make sure is I've got the sag right, because on the dead track here, there's always a little bit of sag, and it's really up to the modeler how much sag you want. And again, like I said in part one of this video, I use the sag just to kind of connect the two major wraps. You've got the wrap around the idler, you've got the wrap around the drive sprocket, and now across the top you want to make that connection. So this is how I make the connection, just by adjusting the sag. And you can see on that middle return roller, somehow the sag is off. And I figured it out later on in the evening what had happened, and we'll go from there. You'll hear more about that later. So you can see the sag is really off. So let's see what we can do about trying to get that sag back. And so now what you're doing is you just want to soften the joints, and you want to soften them enough where you're not creating more work for yourself. So we've got them softened up. We're just going to be very gently reintroduce the sag, and just fiddle around with it. So a lot of this is you've got time with this. You just take your time. You can get very frustrated with this. So I've had a bigger piece come off, and now I've got to tinker with that, because really the more you handle these tracks, the more prone that they're going to be to just start to come apart on you. So really, you want to be gentle, you want to be subtle with the things that you do, and you want to get it right the first time. So that's the most important thing. What I'm going to try to do down here in the basement, I've got a Panzer IV. I think it's a Panzer IV L70, and it's the Vomag one, and the box it's in is disintegrating. It's another Dragon Smart Kit, so Probably my next Sunday side build is going to be that before the box completely disintegrates. But unfortunately, or fortunately, it's got magic tracks in it, so I'll have another go and see if I can get better at this. So we're working that sag. It's getting closer. We're gonna have to keep softening and bending. And again, you want to be delicate. You want to be a bit subtle with this. And if you can, you know, if your frustration level's too high, get to a point where you can just put it down for a little bit and come back to it. So the sag is looking a bit better. Now it's just a question of getting up. There we go. And this is going to happen just when you think you get there, you end up popping another piece off. So you get to the point where you just want to get this done because it gets a little frustrating. Like I said, if you're at a point, walk away, have a Coke, have something, and come back to it because it can be frustrating. But on the flip side, once you're done with it, it really does look good. I have to say the Indie Links done right are really good. And the Fruies, you know, the workable metal tracks, the Fruies, there's a lot of pre-work you need to do on them before you get them assembled, but they look great. Me, I'm still kind of a rubber band guy. If I have a choice in the kit, sometimes Tamiya gives you the choice, rubber bands or Lincoln Length or Indies. I'm always tempted just to go with the rubber bands. So with this kit, it was magic tracks, and the magic tracks were unclickable. So here we all are. So we're still tinkering, and we're starting to get there. And you know, you just keep going. So we're getting close. That run's looking pretty good. Well, it's on. It's on and connected. We'll see if we can tune it up a bit and just get that sag right. We're going to lock it down on the road wheels. I'm sorry, on the return rollers. And we'll just, you know, if you can get it locked down on specific points, it makes it easier on the individual section that you're working on. You just need to make sure that it's locked down. It's right before you lock it down. So I'm pretty happy where I'm at. I'm going to put a weight on this, a very high-tech solution, and then I'm going to let it set. All right, then. Hi, this is Steve, and normally I don't do this at the end of the video, but I just wanted to give you a bit of epilogue, as we say, to the whole individual track links. I got both sets on. They were painted. They were locked down. They were looking good. And last night I was watching a bit of TV and I had my Panzer III in my hand and I was looking at the front and I did exactly what I warned everybody not to do. I ended up at one of the sides reversed and I just could have cried. So I spent last night and a good part of today disassembling the tracks, knocked off a couple return rollers, you know, and just got the tracks on there right. I got lucky, but again, just when you're doing individual track links, especially with the German and the Russian, where it's not always that that obvious which way they're going. You know, on American tracks, you've got chevrons or you've got the big footpads where it doesn't matter. But yeah, watch out your orientation and you'll save yourself a lot of heartburn. But I've moved past that. I've got to do a little bit of touch up paint. But hey, it happens. Not the end of the world. But boy, do I like rubber band tracks. You guys take care. Hans and his Polka Pirates will take us out. You guys enjoy the rest of the day. All right then, thanks.